Hey, folks, we're live.
We are live.
Yes, we are live. But yeah, no, the thing I got trying to get caught up on the Orville because you know
Yeah.
it's hilarious. It's just I have this thing where when I'm watching shows, I will watch like one or two episodes and then get bored. It's why I am so far behind on all the comic book shows I watched.
Uh-huh.
Like Arrow, I'm like quarter of the way through season 4. Flash about the same for season 2. Haven't even gotten really into Supergirl yet. It's just I am I'm slacking, but I get bored watching shows. Ugh. All right.
Yeah. I cut cable a long time ago.
I don't blame you. Don't even watch TV. Cyber Cyborg
Cyborg
Man.
Man.
Yes, and Comics Illustration Studio. Nice to see you guys show up. But yeah, we got some topics we're going to talk about. First off, though, we're going to talk about Jim Healis's book, Blue
Blue
Mamba.
Mamba.
Oh my god! And folks, I read this thing. I read it today. Oh my god, it is worth the read. If you haven't backed this, you need to go back it. Cause man, that book is so amazing. Actually, meant to have your Kickstarter up. Give me a second, because you did send me the link to it. There it is. See, what can I tell you? I got so caught up on trying to get myself caught up on the Orville. I'm slacking today. I'm on like the 6th episode, I think.
Right on. I think I
Uh,
binged Orville like all in the first week.
I don't.
First time I saw it.
Oh, I don't blame you.
I like that
Like,
sketch therapy. So you're gonna start going to these cons strapped, right? Yeah, I would, except for the metal detectors that most of them have.
right? That's ridiculous. Like the fact of what happened to Jeremy last night, like, regardless if you're for him or against him, it shouldn't have happened. Let's turn the camera back on. Like, but well,
Has there been video of it actually happening yet?
no, the bar so far has been refusing to release it.
Oh, okay.
They don't want anything to do with it for one reason or another.
And the
And
police have been involved, right?
yes,
Do we have a
uh,
police report?
there is a police report from what Jeremy was saying. He had one filled out. He uh, basically uh, uh,
Because we all know how much Jeremy likes to say it's not true until there's a police report.
mm, like, but yeah, he did. From like I'm saying, he did the police report. He said if you wanted to search the area, you could find the police report. I didn't personally search the area because, quite frankly, I've been, like I said, the Orville. Don't judge
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Don't judge me. But nah, it's. But he did have a bunch of people that found the dude that because he was there at the con and everything, and apparently he has like his own shop and whatnot. And I'm just like, at this point, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, no, I agree. My only disagreement with it was it seemed like there was a little bit of mob justice going on right at the beginning. Um, and Jeremy made his video. Great. Okay, it's up there. It's out there. People know what happened from Jeremy's perspective. Let's let the police handle it. You know.
I
Um, and if this guy is still at Gen Con and Gen Con has a policy saying, you can't assault anybody, then that's on Gen Con to kick him out or not. And, and it's up to Jeremy to say, okay, well, I still want to attend, but I'll just avoid that area, or I don't feel safe there anymore. I'm going to express my safety concerns to the police and to Gen Con and leave.
Oh yeah. And my whole thought, like I said, is it shouldn't have happened in the first place. They should have
No,
like it doesn't when you resort to violence in a situation like that, what you're doing is you're basically saying that you cannot control your feelings, therefore you have to resort to punching or attacking somebody, and that hurts your side's argument.
absolutely.
Like if a bunch of comic gators beat up a SJW, regardless of how much they were trying to, the SJW was trying to goad the mod on to beating him up, that doesn't help this side. That just gives the other side the fuel to be able to go, see, I
Yep.
told you they were, I told you they were a bunch of violent Nazis, and it's like, fuck. You've just played right into their freaking hands. It just frustrates me. I'm more disappointed because we shouldn't be doing this in the first place. We should be a bunch of mature adults about this. This is not how civilized
Well,
people act.
but we also have to know how to deal with the immature adults, and Jeremy did the right thing. He uh, did his best to document the event, and he involved the police, and then asked asked Gen Con to take action to guarantee his safety while he's there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's it. That's the extent of what he can do. And if he doesn't feel that the appropriate actions were taken at that point, all he can do is leave.
He can leave, or he can actually sue them for refusing.
Oh, okay, but that comes later.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Avid says in chat, Gen Con has been actively silencing, deleting, and banning anyone showing support to Jeremy on their live streams.
I saw that, and this is what I have to say about it. A, they have the absolute right to. B, it detracts from the message that they were trying to present on that live stream. And C, um, hate them for it if that's what you want to do. Boycott them if that's what you want to do. But they may not be ready to present a statement yet. They may be waiting till all the facts come out. And they may see all of those people coming in and flooding their live streams with these messages as just a mob mentality, which detracts away from their promotion. So you may disagree with the way they're doing it, and that's completely your right to disagree with it, but that's the way they decided to handle it.
And, you've already heard my piece on it. Like, I view it
Yeah,
as it's just, I just like it. It's, when you have to resort to violence to get your point across, you, like I said, are just hurting your position. You're hurting your argument. You're preventing people from actually being able to have a civilized conversation because now they're more worried about, well, what happens next? Who's the next person that's going to be attacked and things like that. You create a worse problem. And
absolutely.
honestly, I think Gen Con, what they should be doing is getting out in front of this and saying, okay, we are aware of what happened. We are doing an investigation. If, everything, all accounts turn out to be true, that this man did approach and attack Jeremy just for, without any provocation or warning, then yes, we are going to ban him for life from Gen Con. He will not be welcome back to our,
Here's the thing, though. What under what circumstances does Gen Con have the obligation to do that? This didn't happen at the convention. Um, so it wouldn't be a violation of either the property's policies or Gen Con's rules. So,
you do have a point there. It happened
really
at a
the only thing
bar.
they can do, the only thing Gen Con can do is say, yeah, it happened. We're waiting till this until the police handle it. Now, if the police come back and say, we investigated this, and yeah, this person assaulted this other person, uh, and they're going to be charged, with a crime. Oh, and this person happens to be a presenter, and this other person happens to be a customer. Then Gen Con can say, we don't want presenters who commit violence against our fans to be at our convention. Um, but who knows? I mean, Gen Con's taking a silent position as far as I can tell. And while that may not look very good, it's probably in their best interest
Yeah,
because regardless of what side they come out on, they're going to piss off a lot of people because of the wonderful outrage culture on both sides.
yeah. No, no, I completely. Uh, Sketch, please stop. But no, it's one of those. Like I've stated before, I violence should never be an answer. Like, yes, and you have the right to defend yourself and everything, but you don't want to end up becoming like them. That's always been my big thing. Never become like them. If we end up becoming too extreme, I guess you could say too radicalized ourselves, we're going to hurt our, you know what I mean? We hurt our stance. And but moving on, we that just to me that handles that topic. Let's get back
Yes.
to your comic.
Yes. Sketch, I'll contribute to your commissary card in prison.
That's why don't you think I said please stop? It's
Anyway, let's move on.
but no, my whole point about Blue Mamba though, great artwork, great is really good story, really solid. I liked it. I like how you went with the she never comes across as, I guess the best way to put it, like she's likable. She never comes across as a bitch for no reason.
With her character, I never wanted her to be. I've said this before. I never wanted her to be that preachy lesbian. Like, hey, look at me, I kiss girls.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted that part of it to be a natural part of the story. And at the same time, I wanted to make fun of the tropes of lesbians in comics.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lisa character is a lesbian trope in comics.
Yes, I can see that.
She's absolutely she's the stereotypical comic lesbian. Hey, look at me, I'm a lesbian. Hey, you're another lesbian, let's have sex. Hey, I'm promiscuous, that
Definitely. Yeah, no, I completely get that. You wanted it to be, she was, like you said, the stereotype. I guess, whenever you see characters written in Marvel or DC that are like that, that's how they're always portrayed. And you wanted, the Blue Mamba, because I love that name, to be portrayed as just an average everyday person who just so happens to be a super spy.
Yes, absolutely.
And I thought, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted her to be, who was it? Was it you or someone else that asked me? Said, in the big two, where would my character fit? And she, even being a DC fan, Clarissa still fits more on the Marvel side of the house, because she is a normal person who developed extraordinary abilities to do these things that she does in her life. As opposed to being someone born with natural abilities or being a god or whatever.
Yeah. Like, for me, what I liked about it is it showed like the whole the page where you see back when she was training and everything and learning how to be that way, and you just see her work over a dude. He got a good hit on her, and she returned in kind. Which is
Well, yeah, and that was another thing. I didn't want the fight scene to be unrealistic. You know, none of this one punch bullshit. And I got that from Atomic Blonde. Here, you know, there you had a woman who was fighting against men, and for every punch they threw, she had to throw two punches back just to be equal.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted that to be conveyed in the comic. Was, yeah, you know what? She's a trained fighter, but that doesn't matter when you're going up against guys that are twice her size.
Mm-hmm.
She still is going to get hit. She still is going to get hurt. She needs to put in twice the effort just to match what they're going to put out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that came across in that fight scene.
Oh yeah, and what I liked about it is later on in the book how she used the basically bruises she incurred the previous night to her advantage.
She's a sneaky bitch.
Like, oh, that was well done. Like I said, the whole book was well written. And folks, if you haven't backed Blue Mamba, do it now. Do it now.
Hey, Sporkman, I hear your car.
Hey, what's up?
Just listen to the traffic in the background.
Yeah, I was trying to let you finish before saying something. Hey, you know, I do want to bring up a really good point. You know, what you said there with the whole aspect of her fighting, it's true. You know, any female soldier or any woman getting in a fight like that, you watch the MMA fighters, they got to put in more hits to take down some of these guys and stuff like that, you know, than what a guy would normally do, because, you know, women have to be a little bit more different in their fighting aspect versus men.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Absolutely.
Definitely.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
So,
even
you know, that I think to me, I think that's a really, really good aspect to dwell on. You know, it sounds like you're putting out there are differences between men and women, but women can still beat men. They just have to go about it a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like a screwdriver through the head.
Yeah, that was brutal. That was. I was not. Nope. Not at all. You know, disappointed by that. I thought that was well done. I thought that was actually kind of, like I said, it was brutal. It was well done, and it just, like I said, it made for a good read.
Well, I'm glad you liked reading it, because that's a big thing. For me being the writer, you know, I went out and got some of the best artists I could get, so that people would look at the book, but I wanted the story to keep them coming back for the next issue and the next issue and the next issue.
Oh yeah, and like for me, I'm definitely going to be using some of my saving up and using my Patreon money to come back for next issue. That's for sure.
We got to get issue 1 made first, man. So we got to get everybody to go to Kickstarter and back Blue Mamba, get us past that $8,000 mark so that we can get issue number 1 made. And everything beyond the cost of getting issue 1 into people's hands, into the supporters' hands, is going into issue 2.
Which is awesome. And it helps establish you as a, you know what I mean, as someone who wants to write comics and get them in write good comics. And it also shows that you can put, you know, I guess you could say diverse characters in and LGBT characters in. You just have to have them written well.
Yes, exactly.
Rebirth. Like, it's one of those, when you do it right, like I said before, and this is one of my favorite examples. You know, Sam Wilson no one had a problem with him being the new Captain America. No one.
Yeah.
It was how he was handled as Captain America that everyone had a problem with. But that was immediately, you know what I mean, twisted into, oh, this just proves you're a bunch of racists and this, that, and the other. It's like, no, we all were perfectly fine with that. We had no problem with Sam Wilson being Captain America. We had a problem with how you wrote Sam Wilson as Captain America.
Well, that goes into the whole Starfire on the Titan show. It's like, you guys are a bunch of racists. No, no, no. We don't hate her because she's black. We hate her because she's dressed like a whore.
I mean, my whole thing is it's like the actress could have been black. Starfire's an alien. Doesn't mean you can't paint her skin orange.
Right.
Like,
you're bringing up a really good.
So, but part of.
Go ahead.
I was saying you're bringing up a really good point because the thing is, in actuality, I thought especially since Zoe Salada did such a really good job, I would think having a black actress play those kind of roles would be better because they have the more exotic features for the most part. That you would need to play an alien creature like Corey. And I have no problem with that. So why use that? It just frustrates me and pisses me off.
and would anyone have believed that Zoe was Gamora if they hadn't painted her green?
No.
So you know what? Just paint the lady orange.
Even if you got to go back and do it CGI style,
just paint her orange.
Yes,
you don't need paint her orange. See, cosplayers have shown you don't need to CG. There's a lot of cosplayers that do her orange every day on a weekend.
Yeah.
And it can be done. It's all a bunch of bullshit. It's just Hollywood trying to be progressive where they're not molehill where there doesn't need to be one, basically. And the thing is, I have and I'm actually a very devout Christian, and I have no problem with LGBT characters. I just don't want them to be used as like tokens to push agendas because they're people too.
Thank you.
Huh?
It frustrates me. Like, especially like one of the big things is like one of my biggest people that I cannot stand is Chuck Wendig, and he has to tokenize every book that he has. He has to have tokenized a gay person in there. And that frustrates the living heck out of me. If you want a gay character, just write the character gay. You don't need to tokenize them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, rant over.
No, you presented a valid point. It's the biggest, like, to me, if I was LGBTQ, I would be more upset at being used as a political tool. Like, prime example, the hashtag walk away movement was started by a gay guy who got tired of being used, his sexuality being used as a political token. And, that makes sense. Candace Owens, tired of her skin color being used as a political token. The same thing applies to fiction. If you're going to write a character that is, bi, gay, trans, this, that, and the other, don't make that the entirety of their character. Same thing with if you're going to make them a minority. Don't make their skin color the beginning and end of their character. Because when you do that, all you're doing is basically saying that you don't know how to write characters, or you don't know anyone that is those things, so you don't know how to write them. And, that's fine. Just admit it. My little rant over.
Well, it's just like the same thing how the whole, black cosplayer movement is being, basically put down for what's going on, it's bullshit. It's complete utter bullshit. They're using these people as shields, and they shouldn't be used as shields because they're people, they're individuals, They're allowed to have each of their own opinions, but and this isn't just the left. It's an issue with some of the right too that I have, where they tokenize everybody into certain roles because the right is just as guilty as the left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like, no one should be made a shield for anything. I have a really good gay friend, and his name is Skippy. And him and I disagree on everything completely, and as a Christian, I've witnessed to him. But you know what? We're still friends. It does, you're talking about two people who are completely polar opposites, but we can still be friends because guess what do we have in common? Comics, Jurassic Park, movies, cosplay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more than just that. And I think when you focus on one thing, you're belittling the person completely. Sorry, another rant over.
Well, the whole thing is that the whole point of what we're talking about is you don't need to be that token, or you don't need to use the token, I should say. Just let these characters develop naturally.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's one thing I gotta give. Gotta give you a shout out, Jim. You doing, and also the same thing with Troy with Wanpool. You both are writing LGBT characters as human characters, and
Yes.
they have hopes, dreams, fears, everything that every straight person has. It just so happens, yes, they're gay. It frustrates the living daylights out of me. That they gotta be boys that just because you're gay you automatically have to be a progressive or whatever.
Absolutely. And
Right, them human.
just like you said, I mean, in my book with Clarissa and Echo, through all of the story arcs, I am writing them so that they are constantly working on their relationship. Anyone that's ever been married knows that you have to work on your relationship every day.
Yep.
And so Clarissa and Echo do that. They work on their relationship. They have date nights. They call each other on the phone when they miss each other, or they make sure that the other person feels appreciated in the relationship, that they're not forgotten, that they're not taken advantage of. And the hope was that I could write LGBT characters that both sides, both the left and the right, enjoyed reading about, not because they were ideologues, but because they weren't. But because they were just striving to have a normal life.
Yeah.
And, if you talk to any gay person, they're going to have the same exact feelings for that heterosexual people do, just for the opposite sex. And they go through the same problems that heterosexual normal people go through. And even LGBT people, transgendered people, they all, everybody experiences the same human emotions, no matter what gender, whatever, whatever sexuality you identify as, and to treat that normal is refreshing. It's awesome. I think it's not done enough.
Well, I hope that I'm bringing that into light. I hope that between me and Mr. Marvel doing Wanpool, that maybe we can start a trend at having LGBT characters in books that, I hate to say this, that the ideological right enjoy reading, and don't just look at it like, oh, they're lesbians, I'm not even going to bother reading it. Because I've had that comment.
Yep.
Wow, that's well, you are going to get that more from the right than you are from the left. Honesty.
Exactly.
But once again, because well, I mean, because most people on the right tend to be more religious versus on the left, but they're coming around for the most part. They are starting to accept, that gay people have all the same things too. We just may not agree with their sexuality, but we still think them as humans, and we've evolved those thinkings, I think, for the most part.
Yeah. And
Definitely.
and I hold nothing against the the Christian right or whatever you want to call it that doesn't like homosexual relationships. That's fine. I don't care. I'll still be your friend. I'll still sell you a comic book. Even if all you want to do is start your night fire with it. I don't care. You bought it. I got your money. But there's an audience out there for it. I talk to what I consider normal LGBT people every day, and these are people that don't care about the high visibility politics. They just want to go to work, and hopefully I can reach out audience, and hopefully I can maybe sway some minds in the meantime. And if not, great, whatever. If I keep making money on my comic book, I'll keep making it. If I don't, I'll move on to something different.
Definitely. Spork, if you can take the lead handling something real quick.
Give me 1 second here. I just got inside.
Not a problem. So yeah, it's definitely one of those. Like I said, I enjoyed the book. I can't wait for more, and I encourage everyone out there to go ahead, and if you haven't, please help Jim out and keep get Blue Mamba funded. We have 6 days to go. We can do this. We have less than 4,000 to go, and it's definitely worth the read. Believe me, as I said before, I've read it. I enjoyed it. I was quite pleased.
I'll say, the more and more I read that, read my own story, the more I was like, holy crap, this is so slow. I've written so much of Clarissa and Echo that reading just one little chapter of their story seems like just a glimpse in time.
Oh no,
it's like going to a movie to watch a 2.5 hour movie and only catching 5 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. It's like I said, I was pleased. The artwork's amazing. The writing's good. And like you said, you have a PG-13 and an R-rated version. So which, if people don't want to deal with the more adult content, you can get the censored content.
Yep. My artist is still working on it. So mostly it's just going to be cover-ups. We'll throw sheets over certain spots and put a bikini on somewhere, negligee on somewhere else. There might be a couple scenes in there where even with the cover-up, it's still highly suggestive, but at least you're not seeing, boobs and butts. But in my opinion, if I don't know, I think even conservative people, I really wonder if people who are against stuff like that go to museums and shield their eyes when they see nudity in a painting or when they see a nude statue.
Oh yeah,
because it's just art. It's not. I can understand the desire to not look at pornography. Where you're looking at two human beings that have decided to record their sexual encounters, but we're talking about a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
These are drawings. there's very little artistic effort that differs between this and Renaissance paintings of nudes from Europe.
Well, and I'm going to take a quick look back over the comic again, but
Sure.
really, yeah, it's your adult scenes are not super graphic. Like, they're still fairly tastefully done. Like, I mean,
Well, granted, there's no penetration. But yeah, I haven't gone through, and there's no you don't see things put in other things. All of these scenes tend to be prelude, or for lack of a better term, foreplay, rather than well, except for one panel, rather than an outright sex scene.
Yeah. Well, and even that one panel you're talking about, like, you're really not showing anything.
No.
It's like I said, it's one of those, hint, but you don't show. Is the best way to put it.
Mike, be right back. I'm switching to my PC.
All right.
And in that scene, it is two people in love, married to each other, and it's not. This isn't bow chicka wow wow type thing. This is hey, my spouse is going into work, and what she does is a highly dangerous job. I'm going to give her something memorable to remember while she's gone. And that scene happens between heterosexual couples as well. And I don't know. If people don't want to look at that, that's fine. That's why I came up with a PG-13 version. I'll make it if people will buy it. And so far, probably about a third of people have gone for the PG-13 version.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing I can say. And this is coming from a conservative Christian. There is a fine line for most people between hardcore pornography and, say, what you're doing. There's a big difference, because and I'll be honest with you, this is something I've always struggled with. Pornography is a hard thing that I struggle with. And so what most Christians do is, yes, you did bring up a really good point. A lot of them do avert their eyes. They don't look at it. So me, I don't struggle with it. I don't struggle in terms of that. I can look at breasts. I can look at, a comic and not see that. You know what I mean? Not get that arousal. Some people can't. So I don't have a problem with them doing that. I think most Christians wouldn't. Yeah, I think there's a big difference between a Christian like me and, say, somebody who is more like a conservative, but is not a religious conservative.
I feel bad for those people because they miss probably about 30% of Renaissance art.
Yes.
Well, there is a big. I think one of the problems, and this is coming from someone, because if you read the Bible, there's a lot of sexual connotation throughout the entire Bible in the Old Testament.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, just read Song of Solomon.
Give me a minute.
That book is completely a love poem to his wife.
Oh yeah. Real quick.
Go ahead.
Or take the lead.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm dealing with the drama.
Okay. So I think you bring up a really good point. I think I think the one nice thing is that you're doing is you're trying to make a story that's very palatable to everybody, no matter what their religious background, whatever their, you know what I mean? You're not being sexist, racist, homophobic, or whatever's being slammed. And you're like, no, I just want to write a good story because I want to write a good story. Just so happens my characters are, gay,
whatever, but I'm going to
They're-
write a good story to keep those characters grounded.
Right. Yes. And I didn't make my story, hey, look at these gay characters.
Yeah, which is
You
good.
know? I wrote a story and then happened to make the characters gay. And I'll admit, part of it was pandering, because why not? If I can create a good story, keep people compelled with the story, and pander a bit to the LGBT community by making my characters gay, why not?
Well, it'd be the same thing. Just like, I'll be honest with you, with our comic, Sporkman Goes to Japan, I purposely wrote that because I want to break him into the Japanese market.
Sure.
So why not write a comic that would appeal to the Japanese? Not just Americans, but the fans of anime, but to the Japanese as well. So I agree with you. I think you're doing a really good point. You're bringing up a really great point.
And like I said earlier, if I can do that and still have readers on the ideological right or the conservatives look at this and read it and enjoy the story, even better, because now they've enjoyed a story that happens to have LGBT characters in it.
Yeah.
You know, as to where maybe before they wouldn't have bothered picking up Iceman, because we all know why.
Yeah. And I think that's what's great. I mean, really, in all honesty, I think you're gonna probably agree. You got Rags, and you got Juan, all three great LBGT characters. You know,
Yes.
and you know, I mean, I always give props out because I think Robbie's hot as a guy. You know, as a character, he's drawn very good looking and happy the way he's done with Juan and him. And I think Clarissa is gorgeous. You know, so I can't wait to read it. I'm really excited. And then, of course, you know, with Rags, I mean, you know, Regina is beautiful. So
Yes.
these characters are I think are very appealing, not just because of their backgrounds. I think you're hitting on a tone that's really sorely needed in this day and age. You know, good characters, good story, and to top it off, good art.
And the good art part was key to it.
Yeah.
You know, I can't credit my artist enough for when you go through, you'll see how my artist drew this, and keep in mind that that I drew every page as 8 panels.
Okay.
So when you're reading the comic, when you go through and read the letters proof I gave you, keep in mind that every page is originally started out as an 8-panel page.
Okay, interesting.
And you'll be able to see what my artist did. So, because I went off of who was it that gave that advice? So always plan your when you're drawing or when you're scripting a comic, always script it for a 9-panel page.
Okay.
But don't write 9 panels, because when your artist gets a hold of it, you may find that you need to expand a panel, you know, expand one more panel,
Right.
or reduce one panel. And so the advice was always write for 7 to 8 panels per page, so that you could either spread dialogue over more panels or reduce it down to 6 panels and condense your dialogue into fewer panels.
Yeah. And I think that's actually a very good point for any comic writer, or even a person who is storyboarding or trying to do sequential art. You know, it's a very important point that you're bringing up.
Yeah. So when you go and take a look at it, you'll see just how much influence the artist Ale Garza had on the final appearance, because while I had some specific directions on certain things that you know I wanted people to see, he really took the direction of a full page and drafted the panels from the full page, rather than looking at each panel and drawing each panel as I directed them.
You know something? I'm looking at here at the first page there, and the first chick. You know who she actually kind of has a side profile of? The Cho, Frank Cho, a little bit.
Oh, really?
I feel there's a little Frank Cho in that art. You know, in terms of the body style. You know, and how the woman is being drawn. You know, with the fluidity of the, you know, going into the breasts and everything like that. I just when I first looked at that first scene, you know, with the girl, you know, saying no, no, no.
I thought you were saying she looked like Frank Cho.
No. I mean the inspiration of the artwork from Frank Cho.
Yeah.
So you know, yeah, dude, your artist. That is just. I'm just looking at the first page and I'm like,
I'll tell you what, if you want to, you've got the comic in front of you, right?
Yeah.
The letter of proof. Let's not show anybody, but let's talk about the comic page by page if you want. I'm happy to do that if you want to. But
Sure.
We won't share it with anybody because, you know, they have to buy it.
Not a problem. Yeah, because I don't want to show anybody. I agree with that. I try to not spoil stuff for people. If you actually watch my reviews, I'll show like some pages from the comic, but I don't try to go into the whole thing because I don't want people to spoil it.
Yeah.
You know. So that's kind of how I do my review. So I'm definitely down. So I really love this shot, especially this opening shot that you're doing. You know, you see the face of the girl, and you see that the girl saying no, and you know she's begging for her life, and you know I love that shot with the pistol holding out the gun, and she's got her pretty much dead to rights.
Oh, and I caught so much shit for that pistol because it is modeled after Beretta Neo's 22 target pistol.
Okay.
But come on, people, it's a comic book.
Yeah, because if you look at Ghost in the Shell, you know those aren't real guns; they're stylized off of the Sebero.
Right.
You know, so why are people going? As long as you're stylizing your own gun, what's the big problem? So
yeah. So, but I just thought that was funny because there's I could give reasons why, you know, Clarissa happens to have that pistol in that shot. And it explains it. It visually explains it on the next page.
Okay, so let's go to the next page here. Now, are the just a question? Are the red lines are those just for?
That's just the letterer's guidelines. That's all.
Oh, okay, all right. Just wanted to make sure. Okay, I have to definitely say, if you don't mind me asking, because I'm looking at the lettering and it looks really nice. What do you know? What the font you're using?
That's all in the letterer. So
okay,
I hired Tom Napolitano to do the lettering, and he has a long resume with both DC and Marvel. And actually, I picked him out of Batman. I think I just saw his name and sent him an email, asked him if he wanted to do work on my book, and he said yes.
Nice.
And he's been phenomenal. He turned around the last 8 pages of the book overnight.
What a lot of people don't get is lettering's a big aspect of your comic, because if you have shitty lettering, you know, I mean, good lettering can, I think, for the most part, can kind of pull people out of the art a little bit, you know, and maybe people are a little bit more lenient on the art and stuff like that. But if your lettering looks like crap along with crap art, you're not getting away, in my opinion.
Well, you could have the best art in the world, but if you have shitty lettering, people can't follow the flow of the story, and it could cover up crucial aspects of the art. So yeah, and Tom, in my opinion, just did a phenomenal job on lettering this book. Yeah,
I'm glad to back it. Let's see here. You know, avid comic reader, Avid says, I love good lettering, and I completely agree.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, I'll give 2 echoes. I was talking with Brian from Asgard. I don't know if you know him or not. He's another guy. He's going to be doing his Kickstarter September, like I am. I highly recommend you follow him. But we were talking yesterday about coloring, where colorists don't get enough praise. Neither do letterers. You know, and go ahead.
The people that get the biggest praise in the comics industry are the pencilers and the writers. inkers and colorists and letterers seem to be the afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
And if people understood just how much work those three people do in a comic, they would rethink it. Because oh man, just to see some people's pencils when they go from pencils to inks, you would think that it was completely redrawn.
Mm-hmm.
And in some cases it is. And it's all on that inker. And the colorist, that first page, we actually went through a few iterations of color on that first page because we needed to set a mood.
Mm-hmm.
And I had discussions with my colorist to say, look, no, I understand what you're trying to do with color here, but that's not the mood I'm trying to set. You need to change this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I noticed, just give an example. I noticed like your red is kind of very subdued a little bit versus being,
well,
go ahead.
I'll tell you exactly where we had the biggest discussion on page 1. You'll see that orangey yellow behind the gun.
Mm-hmm.
That covered the whole bottom part of the page. And the reason for that was, this is heated tension. This is exciting. This is violent. I said, yeah, but Clarissa is calm. Clarissa, this is calculated for her. I said, you need to get rid of that yellow and red from behind her.
I agree.
And so we shifted it to the blue to show that Clarissa's calm. There's no excitement. There's no tension in this for her.
And that back
on the target.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, if you look at it, and I'm looking at that page again here, and I agree with you because you're trying to portray her mood, and you see her face, and it's stoic. It's no emotion whatsoever.
Uh-huh.
And as you said, you have that light blue or that light to dark blue, and then as it starts, as you're moving towards the gun, it does start getting that red, and that's a nice transition, into that bright orange and yellow.
And you see that when we get toward the end of the book, you'll see that we see the continuation of the preface to this scene at the end of the book, and it shows more of her expression and more of the color usage.
Okay, so let's we're going to go into page 2 here. So it looks like you have the shot of her, just the two victims.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. So you set it up as a murder-suicide.
Yes.
Okay. Nice. Okay. And then, of course, the shot of her walking away. Yeah, see, and that's the thing is I like the lettering on how Tom is using the space in this page. Because, especially here in this page, too, you have a lot of areas that are very wide open. And he's definitely doing a good job using that empty space for the lettering.
And funny little note too, you'll see how this page is laid out. This was actually the original layout for this page was actually a 2-page spread because I wanted the murder scene to go across. I wanted it to be very big, very bold. And the artist came back and said, no, you don't want to do that. And
right.
And I look back at it now and I'm thinking, no, you just didn't want to do it.
So there's that little banter back and forth between each.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that is, and I like that you changed the whole scene. Then after that, I love the blues. How the scene just looks very blue and white and stuff like that. And then you have the little black in the corner and stuff like that. So definitely, oh man, your colorist too. I gotta give props to your colorists and your artists and stuff like that. I mean, everything. This book is unbelievable. I can't believe people aren't backing this thing. It's amazing.
I like this. So Avid Comic Creators says my favorite is when each individual person's chat bubbles have their own personalized borders and backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. Unfortunately, it gets really busy from a reader's perspective when you have a lot of different characters with dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
It's beneficial when you have a highlighted character that has a particular style of speech that's going to be different than the other people talking in the book, then you can make their speech bubbles different. But I like it when we see, and you'll see this throughout my book here, all of Clarissa's internal monologue are in the thought bubbles, you know, the black dialect boxes. I appreciate when inner monologue is done that way, where they have their own borders and backgrounds. But talking, verbal communication between two characters in a book, I think sticking with a consistent font style, consistent bubble style, and a consistent background color for all of the speech bubbles keeps the reading flow consistent.
Definitely.
I would completely agree with that. So what we're doing is we're going page by page here and kind of just get into the mind of the thought process of the comic and stuff like that. We're not kind of giving anything away. We're kind of more just dealing with, you know, like the aspect of how the creation of everything went.
Oh no, you're fine.
And of course, now I'm on the infamous page 3.
Yes.
You know what, though? Yeah, I don't find anything wrong with that. You know, it looks really good. I have to say, you know, yeah, there's, you know.
And I've said this before with other people, and I think I've mentioned it to you guys too. My art direction to Ale for that panel was they're having sex, make the reader uncomfortable.
I mean, I can see why some people probably would. The first part of her, you know, kind of propped over her, and then it's probably more that second scene is probably where that would make people uncomfortable.
Yes, and I wanted that. I wanted, in my opinion, art makes people uncomfortable, and it's that discomfort that makes you examine it more deeply. You know, why does this make me uncomfortable? And people who and the people who will ask themselves why this makes me uncomfortable, that's who I want questions from. Those are people that I want to talk to about this, you know.
Well, Avid does ask, he says, am I the only one that hasn't seen the page 3? Do I get a PDF if I back it now?
No. if you back it now, you get the PDF along with everybody else. But I'll tell you, you'll want the print version over the PDF, because the PDF just gets you pixels on a screen. The print version, you get the smell of the paper and the ink and the feel in your hands, and you get the fabulous artwork that you'll be able to display. Yeah, get the print versions.
So, question for you. So, what is your if you don't mind me asking, who are you guys looking to print through? Print Ninja, or are you doing? I absolutely, it is an absolute necessity to be printed in the United States. I don't want to be waiting 6 weeks for my books to cross the ocean. And I don't want to deal with problems I've seen friends of mine have with these print jobs that come from China. Okay.
I saw one person's whole print run was not usable because half the books were boxed wet, and the other boxes had physical damage, like the corner of the box had been torn off.
Right.
So they had to pulp the whole run.
Now, did the company comp them for the damage and stuff like that, or?
Yes. As far as I know, they did. I think they just refunded him for the print run, and then he went with someone in the U.S. So I haven't 100% decided who I'm going to go with yet, but whoever it's going to be, they're going to be printing in the United States.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who we use. The reason why I was asking, because we use Indie Planet. Now we just got our we just got our first hard proof copy in from Indie Planet, and this is actually the first time I was kind of disappointed, because they were like telling me like, oh well, this particular image is off and stuff like that, on an image that I didn't even touch. Period. When we did, when I was doing the digital copy, they're like, well, because it ended up my partner's like, yeah, this image is off. I'm like, but I didn't touch that at all. Yeah. Period. Yeah. How did it come out all weird? So,
and to hear people talking about how some of these print brokers are charging extra fees for things like color correction and resizing of pages, and it's like, wait, hold on a second. I hired a professional colorer and flatterer, and I hired professional letterers. I hired professional artists for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
These people know what they're doing. They don't, and I'm sorry, but if I provide you with a rasterized image of my pages, you shouldn't charge me $150 to resize a raster image. And color corrections, no,
yeah.
Sorry. If you're going to tell me that my book needs color correction, well then I will do the color correction.
Yeah, that seems really weird. So I mean, I'm going to go through everything. I have to go through everything tonight, and try to see where these things are off. It's kind of hard, when you're dealing with going from digital to print. And that's the thing is, with digital, you don't have to worry about the edges and all that stuff. So I'm going to have to redo that. But anyhow, and that's the thing is really important. That's why I wanted to ask you, like, where you guys were going through, if you're looking for somebody locally, or what, because I know I live in Pennsylvania. We actually have some local people, but the problem is they're so expensive. It's just easier to go through.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. I found that a couple of the regional printers that I found that have experience in printing comic books,
mm-hmm.
They end up being the same price after you calculate shipping.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. I don't want to say names because it's been so long since I looked at this, but I looked at one of the print brokers, and if I didn't want to wait the 6 weeks for my book to come from China on a slow boat, I could have my comic put on a plane and shipped over for $1,100.
Woo!
And I'm like, okay, no. I would rather find a local printer and give that local printer that $1,100 more to have it printed in the United States, where my money backs a United States company who pays an American their wages.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have a problem with what happens, I can call them up on the phone, talk to the person directly, and it's all, within the same bloody time zone, most likely.
Right. Okay. It makes no. Hey, it makes sense.
And I'm not dealing with a broker. Companies like Print Ninja and who's the other one?
Kraken.
Kraken are print brokers. They're brokers.
Real quick, guys, can I interject to all those watching? I'm sorry about what's going on in the chat. We are trying to get a handle on it. We're trying to prevent this from continuing. I am embarrassed and I'm extremely upset about this. I apologize again.
So we'll talk offline about what's going on then. That's why we're kind of trying to talking about the comic and stuff like that.
Oh, I know. I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that I apologized about this, and
you're not responsible for what happens in chat. It's all them.
Yeah, I think Josh and Avid and Jack got it handled.
Yeah. let him go.
So yeah, and and that's one of my biggest concerns. I think that we as comic creators, and I think you're bringing up a really good point. We as comic creators, that's something we need to focus on. Are we going to go cheap and are we going to save a couple bucks in the long run and ship it from China? But then do we save the money and go that way, or do we spend and I'm always about quality, in my opinion. I'd rather spend, if it's going to be $100, $200 extra, like you said, I'd rather go to somebody who's maybe possibly local or regional, right, and say, hey, and create a relationship with them that way.
And I look at that shipping from China as making my readers wait. If I can get the book from the printer in my hands in 3 or 4 days instead of 4 to 6 weeks, then my readers don't have to wait another month to get the book in their hands. I can. I promised my book in October. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, I'll probably get the book out to them by the end of September.
Oh, okay.
Because Kickstarter ends on the 9th. Kickstarter takes a couple weeks to get the money, into your account.
Mm-hmm.
That couple weeks, I'm waiting for that money. I can be negotiating with the printer to make sure all the files are correct and everything like that, so that when the money hits my account, I pay them, they start printing.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Then the book is in my hands a few days, maybe a week later, and I start turning it around and shipping it out. So there's even the possibility I could get the book into my supporters' hands in the beginning of September instead of October. But like Mitch Breitweiser said, I'd rather underpromise and overdeliver. So I give myself a little bit of time in case something blows up.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a good, because my partner and I, we were talking. He's like, "Yeah, I want to try to get it out by Christmas." I'm like, "Dude, don't undercut." You know what I mean? Don't because I think you're doing the right thing by overestimating, saying given 6 months. If people say, let's say you're saying 6 months, I'll just give that example.
Right.
So let's say you give it 6 months for you to get everything, and you deliver in 3 months. That's people are going to be like, "Oh man, I got it in 3 months."
Yeah.
I was expecting it back in. I was expecting it in February.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and that's another reason why I waited until I knew this book would be ready to print before I started the Kickstarter. This book, with the exception of 2 variant covers, is ready to print right now.
Nice. See, that's important. I think you're doing the right thing. I think you got all your ducks in a row, and I guess I'm not seeing why people aren't going to back this. This is just really, I don't know. So do you know what you're at right now?
Just past 50%.
Wow. I'm a little disappointed. I would have thought people would be moving on this.
Well, I take a big part of the blame here for not building an audience before I started this thing.
Okay.
But my counter to that is I didn't have anything to build an audience with.
Okay.
So until I actually started building an audience, which was about 3 months ago, I didn't have anything.
Okay.
I had a few colored interior pages. I had a script, but I didn't have anything else to offer people as far as building an audience. And yeah, I could have started a YouTube channel and done comic reviews or, some other thing and built up an audience that way. But that's not me.
Right.
I'm not going to start a YouTube channel and, create the same generic content that everyone else is producing. I'm not going to start a YouTube channel until I have something to give people, something to show people.
Okay.
And really that's just one potential influencer market, with YouTube. It's hot right now, but it's just one potential market. So I take that part of the blame of not having this massive audience beforehand.
Well, I think you were also trying to rely on some of the advertising to hopefully pull you in too, correct?
I was actually.
Okay.
And I was getting fairly good response from the Facebook advertising until it got stopped.
See, and then that hurts. You know, you as a creator, you're relying on this huge channel to kind of almost generate and drive your business. You know, I think you would be, if that wouldn't have happened, I think you would have been a lot further along than what you are. Now, I mean, you have 6 days to go, so something could still happen within, you know, the next 6 days. But, you know, let me ask you this. If you don't meet this one, are you going to try again? Or are you going to kind of retool?
If this one doesn't go, I've got 2 options in front of me. I can reevaluate my expenses as far as getting the book made and see if I can do it for cheaper, see where I can cut things back, and maybe relaunch in a month or so.
Okay.
With a lower funding goal. The other option I have is to give my credit cards a little bit of time to cool down and do a print run on my own dime.
Okay.
And then I'll be selling at conventions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, it's a shame. I mean, come on, guys. If you guys haven't backed this, back it. I mean, you know, we definitely need to get this out. You know, I mean, it's a good book. I want to look more into this. This, I want you guys to look more into this project. So, if you can, Jim, one of the questions here is he's listened to 2 streams so far, and he's not even sure what the project is about. So, if you could definitely give us some more information.
I think that's funny. He says is an early response to saying that I don't know what it is. I haven't quantified it, but the creator makes me uncomfortable, and that's what he's talking about.
Oh,
saying, yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe get your artist to talk about it on stream and see how it goes.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that earlier.
So I don't know what to tell you, man. My artist, Ollie is not the type to, you know, jump on a live stream like this. And Jesse is a busy man. He, like me, has a day job and does coloring at night. So I'm the one you've got. I'm the one that's got the personal interest in this, a huge personal interest in making sure that this succeeds one way or the other. So I'm sorry that I make you uncomfortable.
Well, here's something. I mean, I will say, you know, this is coming from one creator to another creator. My partner's kind of the same way. He'll jump on live streams every once in a while, but that is more my thing. I'm the customer facing. He doesn't like customer service as much. You know, he likes to build the props. He likes to do the writing and all that. I am the customer service face. You know what I mean? So, you know, I get how you feel. You know, I don't get why. I don't get it. I think you're a great guy. You know.
Well, thanks.
Let me give you one moment here. Somebody would like to have the link to the project, so I'm going to go ahead and paste that in here.
I think a couple people have thrown it in there already. That's cool, though. Thanks.
It's being handled.
All right, Josh is on it. Yoo-hoo!
Yeah.
All right, and Cody is on the end. Woo!
We have guys who are on it, and they are taking care of the link situation, which is good. Maybe I can best try to explain your comic a little bit.
Go ahead.
Basically, what Blue Mama is it is you're following a super spy on a mission. Her mission just so happens to be dealing with far left extremists within the United States using LGBTQ rights as a means to be able to incite violence. I think that's a good sum up.
I love it when I have other people explain, because I come at it from a certain point of view, and sometimes I can be a little jaded in what I present. But when I have other people who have read this explain what it is, it seems to come out so much better.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and sometimes it takes that third person, or maybe from a different perspective, to look at it. And they may be completely wrong on it, but maybe that's how it's come across to them.
And that's okay, because they're not really wrong. They're not really wrong. It's their perspective.
Yeah, like that's what it really struck me as. Like the core of the story is exactly that. You're following a super spy on a mission, handling far left extremists within the United States trying to incite violence. That's like the best way to describe it for me without giving away any
too much.
Yes.
Too much. Honestly, when I saw some of the early artwork that Jim, you have posted there, to me I looked at it as, damn, it's a sexy woman kicking some freaking ass. Woohoo! I'm on board.
Oh yeah.
And I love, I am a huge fan of movies, now I haven't watched Atomic Blonde, but I love Angela Jolie in Wanted and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, because damn, seeing a woman kick ass like that to me is unbelievable. I love watching women fight like that.
Oh, dude, that's part of the reason why I thought Mila Jovovich was so hot for the longest time.
Fifth Element.
Yes, Fifth Element. Like
all the even though they're cheesy as hell, the first Resident Evil film.
All of them. I haven't seen past the third one, but
Mila Jovovich is absolutely hot. Just saying.
Yes.
But somebody was it you that brought up Mila Jovovich to play Clarissa in a movie?
No.
Someone else brought that up, and I'm like, oh no. I appreciate it, but no.
Right. Mila Jovovich if it's Mila Jovovich 20 years ago, I might feel a little bit different about it because not
even then, because as I pointed out to other people, Clarissa is Armenian heritage. I want an Armenian actress to play her. And I came up with a couple. There was what's her name? Oh, of course, she doesn't have it. There, Angela Serafian. Thought she would be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And then who is this other person? I can't remember her real name. She doesn't use her real name on Twitter. Nekar Zadagan, she's American, Iranian, and German.
Ooh, what's her name?
Nekar Zadagan.
I gotta look that up. I gotta look her up. Can you give me a spelling on it?
Oh, Necar is her first name. Zadegan as her last name.
Ooh, dude, she is hot.
And she fits most of Clarissa's physical appearance. She doesn't have the boobs for it. I sad to say.
Hollywood can fix that.
I was gonna say, it's just she doesn't have the boobs for it, but that's not necessary for a movie portrayal, but she fits Clarissa's appearance. She's taller than average. She's in her 30s. But the other one, Angela Serafian. Last name is Sarafyan. And you might have seen her. Her face might look familiar to you because she's been in a few things like Westworld. And Angela is actually American and Armenian, and she's.
Oh, I think isn't that girl you showed spoke about the other night?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I definitely think she looks really good.
And I think she would be a perfect Clarissa as far as appearance goes, but that's just me being biased.
I'm trying to think of. I'm gonna have to Google it real quick because I'm using Chrome and I don't feel like switching it to DuckDuckGo. But the chick from The Kingsman, that was Samuel L. Jackson's right hand woman.
Oh, Sophia Basulda. Yeah, she was also an Atomic Blonde.
Now,
yes.
who was the main chick in Atomic
Sophia
Blonde?
Botella. I'm sorry.
Yes, Patella. That's
Main chick in Atomic Blonde was Charlize Theron.
Okay. Oh, okay. God, I love her.
wait. What's Clarissa again? Like her ethnicity?
Armenian.
I mean, she okay. I know it started with an A. I just spaced it because so much going on.
Yeah.
But she's Algerian.
Sophia's a little on the short side, though.
Ah,
Yeah, if you.
Yeah.
but she does do a lot of action, and she makes it look believable. So I give her that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And the nice thing is, I almost want to go back and get the graphic novel, and read it. Have you read the original graphic novel?
The Coldest City?
Yeah.
Yes, a few times.
And what's your opinion of it? Definitely recommend.
It will take a little bit of concentration in following the story.
Okay.
You can definitely see where the roots of Atomic Blonde come out of the Coldest City, but they are very different stories, at least in my opinion. As I talked to the writer Anthony Johnson a little while ago, because I said, look, would Lorraine, the lead character in Atomic Blonde and Coldest City, said, would she still be alive today? Because my character would look up to her as a mentor. And he said, Lorraine in the book, no. Lorraine in the movie, yes.
Okay.
So I find that interesting. So because I do believe that Lorraine in the book is more of a risk taker, more of that duplicitous spy type than the Lorraine in the movie.
Okay.
All right. Still, if you folks haven't, check out Blue Mamba. Try to back it. Show Jim some love.
Yes, let's get this book funded so that I can get it out to everybody who wants it, and so that I can see my name in print.
Yes. Well,
and let me tell you, Jim, when you get that book in hand, there's no greater feeling.
good night, Cole.
That's all I want.
And may I say, you are now up to 4,404 with 129 backers.
Excellent.
So that's we're helping, just not as much as I would have liked.
That's all right. We'll get there.
We will, and we'll do help you out the way we've helped other channels out by doing that last minute push. Because that seems to be when a lot of things tend to really get backed, is like the last few days.
Well, and that's the stressful part about it is you get that big burst right in the beginning. The middle is nothing but trickle through and kind of dips and lulls, and then the end you get another big burst. But it started looking bleak after about 10 days and seeing only a couple $1,000. I won't lie to you. Even now, it looks pretty bleak.
All right. Credits.
A lot of that comes up for the fact of with as high as a goal you have, you're like, oh man, I'm just a little over halfway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get that? You're getting that.
Yeah. But I also look at it as, over 100 people are supporting me. I've made over $4,000, and if I have to relaunch, in a month or so after I reevaluate everything, those are probably 100 people that I can count on backing on day one.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that day one momentum makes other people support it.
And I think you're doing a good job, because I think you're probably. Do you think you're building a good following now on Twitter, at least so far?
I think so.
Okay.
I've got enough people that are, catching the tweets that are going out every day and retweeting, and a few people are being even more active in marketing the book than I am, which is really, really fortunate for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just turning those clicks into supporters.
In all honesty, and I can't believe people aren't backing even more. One of the big complaints everybody gets is, "Oh, it's the price point. It's the price point, dude. Your entry price point is $7."
Yeah, if you want a digital book, $7, $7 for the digital. And this is another thing. Let me talk about this a little bit with pricing on Kickstarters and Indiegogos and such. I had this same discussion with the owner at my local comic shop. He's like, "Why are you charging so much for the comic?" And I explained it to him. I gave him a breakdown of my expenses, and he's like, "Why are you only printing that many?" He says, "If you print more, you can bring the cost per issue down, and you can charge less per issue." And I'm like, "Yeah, that would be great, but I don't have $10,000 to run to make an 8,000 issue print run,
Right,
to be able to bring my cost per issue down to $1.25 per issue, and then turn around and charge $4 for it." Said if I did, I would, but I don't. So I have to rely on Kickstarter to support that. And unfortunately, that means I have to charge a little bit more for things.
and I don't think people understand that. I'd really like to get you on another stream here sometime, and I want to really talk about like what it goes into making the comic process. We were supposed to have this a couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, didn't work out. Because I wanted to get people to understand, because that's the biggest complaint I'm hearing from people is, why are the prices so expensive? Why are, what I mean? And a $15, in all honesty, a $15 comic. Now, how many pages do you have? 20.
There's 23 pages in this book.
23 pages. Okay. So unless you're going through, here's the thing: what people don't understand, you're going through a local printer, possibly. You're not using somebody from China. Already, you're looking at your cost is going to be much higher.
Yeah.
Because if you were using, say, Indie Planet, your cost would be down a lot more, but then you're not, that money isn't coming from us here in the United States, and you're running at the risk of all these problems.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I hate to be rude, but I'm on call for work and I just got paged. So I unfortunately have to cut this short. Otherwise, the day job still pays the bills, folks.
Not a problem. We'll continue to talk about the comic, definitely, because I really want to get you some more support. So I know you got to step out. Joshua and I will continue.
If this cuts short here quickly, I'll ping you guys and see if I can jump back in the stream if you're still going.
Yeah. Are you okay with that, Joshua?
I guess I was just actually gonna be like, all right, we'll end there. But if you want to keep going, I
say we got some time. Let's
right.
give it a little bit more time. See if we can maybe get a little bit more and talk about the comic. Josh, you and I we can kind of review. You go over through some of the ideas that we like about it and discuss it, and then we'll see if we can get a little bit more.
Oh yeah, I'm reposting the link into the chat so we can possibly get a second or get a third or fourth person in here as well. So
okay,
thanks guys. I'll chat with you later.
All right, Jim. Thanks. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Cheers.
But
All right. So yeah, I think everything Jim is bringing up are really excellent points. That creators have to keep in mind. I think this is really good to hear that people hear this from these different creators, and hear that one of the reasons why for indie comics the price is so much higher. This is what really I think. Now here's what I was going to mention. I think Blue Mamba I don't think would look. I think it would look good in the regular print. I don't know if it would look good in newsprint. There's just something about this comic. I would rather see it on modern paper.
definitely, and granted, on the one hand, even with the newsprint, yes, it gives it that classic comic feel and everything, and will bring you back to your childhood of reading those old comics before they switched to papers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if newsprint has its flaws,
Yeah,
and it doesn't allow for as crisp of a picture, if I remember correctly, whereas modern paper can give you a lot cleaner picture and a lot more vibrant colors and things like that.
Mm-hmm. So I definitely think there is a positive and a negative to both
mediums.
I think if it wouldn't be for like I was looking at the option of maybe offering like for our comic I was going to think about offering, well, okay, what if I did a print news run, did that at like $6, I'm just using print numbers here.
Yeah.
And then maybe say, okay, well, if you don't want newsprint, do you want to back it at $12 and you'll get it on regular paper?
Yeah.
And then offer then $18, you get the trade with the bonus features and stuff like that. And I think people might want to look at, okay, well, where is a good price point? $6 for 3 comics? You can't beat that. $2 a piece. And or you get a little bit better paper. Okay, we'll give it to you. You'll get the 3 comics plus Sporkman Conventions at $12.
Yeah. No, for me, the whole thought is with especially with the current comic prices, that is a good thing. Which, speaking of, so touching on the comics that were messed up, that of yours was like, did you actually get them messed up or?
Yeah, so it just came in. My best friend just messaged me, and he gave me the photos of where the problem were on the files. And he's like, "Well, here," and he was showing me the pictures. Like, he was saying like the one Spork emblem is bigger than the second one, and like the Spork emblem name. Now, I might have screwed up on like where we basically on when we split up the comic on the 1 pages, we actually have like an intro page that says Sporkman like bonus collection or bonus sketches. Like I have the Sporkman logo a little bit larger than what it should be. Okay, that's my error. All right. And the same thing with like a couple of the photos. But he was like telling me like he's like, yeah, this 1 page is off where the Spork emblem is actually bigger than the other one. I'm like, dude, but I didn't touch those at all. I did not touch those. So at some point I got to go back tonight and tomorrow. Now the nice thing is we can go back through and edit them as long as we get them edited correctly and get the correct copies over to Indie Planet. They'll be able to print the correct hard runs and stuff. So
word. So it wasn't like it wasn't. How many was it? Just the test runs that were messed up?
Just the one. Yep, we ordered one. We just ordered one. I think we ordered like 4 copies. So it wasn't like a lot of money we were out.
Okay, because that is something that, people do have to worry about, and being the fact that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And the thing is I will say this one thing, we've not really had any problems with Indie Planet. every time we've seen things that were kind of off and we fixed them, we've gone back to them, and they've been really gracious about editing stuff that needs to be edited, and putting the correct pages and stuff like that. The downside is, yes, they do charge us when we have to edit a page. So that is the crappy part we have to eat, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is you never know until you actually physically get the the issue in hand. Is there going to be a problem?
Yeah. No, I completely understand.
So, but you know, and that's one of the good things, in my opinion, that the modern comic, or the modern, having a local printer or a regional, however you want to do it, you know, having something done in America. The nice thing is, you're looking at, if something's wrong, they send you a proof. Well, it's right there. You don't have to wait. Like, he was bringing up a really good point, Jim. I think he was hitting some really good nails on the head. You know, having locally, you can look at the print run. If there's a problem, you can say, hey, let's get this fixed. And it's a slower turnaround versus 6 to 8 weeks for a turnaround.
Yeah.
Hey.
What's up, Ryan?
Not much. I was hearing you guys chat, and I wanted to hop in and ask a question rather than type in the chat. What do you use to format your books there, Spork?
What do you mean? Do you mean like Photoshop? Are you talking about?
Yeah, like, do you use Photoshop, or because I use InDesign, and that took a little bit of messing around with to get everything setting right. But once I found the right page settings and baked those into a template, I just made one template and I just used that over and over. So I was just curious if you did the same thing.
So I use, basically what happened was, our other partner, who's kind of no longer involved, he did the original templates for everything. So I basically just load them into Photoshop, and you know, I use that way. The problem is, I had to redo the one back pages and these entry level pages and kind of like, for some reason, why Photoshop scaled them incorrectly and stuff like that. So.
Oh, okay. So you don't really use it. You don't have like a PDF builder, do you?
I use whatever's in Photoshop.
Oh, okay. So I'm actually gonna help you out, buddy. Buddy, old pal.
Do. Hey, sweet.
Yeah, I got like some things that I use.
Okay.
And this helps me out a lot. I'm going to DM them to you.
Yeah, whatever can help us. So yeah, it's kind of frustrating, you know, because I'm learning all this stuff on the fly.
I hear you. I had to teach myself Photoshop, and part of the reason was because, so we have like the bunny skulls that cover all the nudity in our book, which it's meant to be there, but I didn't really have a way to explain to Luigi, like, this is the look of the book and this is how it's supposed to be quirky in its own right. So I basically made the bunny skull sensor myself in Photoshop, and then had to teach myself to scale it.
Okay.
So, yeah, Photoshop is nuts. There's also,
you know, my
give you this template.
Not a problem. So I got to tell you this. So my best friend was also trying to learn this stuff too, and I put Photoshop and GIMP in front of him. GIMP, he had no problem. When he started looking at Photoshop, he's like, I don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah, GIMP was a lot easier to work with, and I taught myself GIMP on and off 8 years ago, just messing around with stuff. Let me see if I can find this template. Yeah.
GIMP is nice. I really like it so far.
GIMP is nice, but I ended up having to move to Photoshop.
My only thing with GIMP that I have not been able to figure out is the layering aspect. You know, the nice thing is with Photoshop, you know, it has all your tools right there on the side, and I can look at the layers as I'm looking at them, and they're easy to flip. GIMP, I've not been able to figure it out. I don't know why.
That's weird. For me, I mean, I'm using it on a Mac, granted, but I believe it still has that window. It's just it's like a little separate layering window that you have to open.
Maybe that's the problem, is I can't find it where it's located at. You know, whereas in Photoshop, it's a default that automatically comes up.
Yeah, it might not be a default to come to think of it, but I'm not sure because I am still learning a little bit myself.
But yeah, I mean, I actually getting back to the programs, we were talking about it. I actually was able to, because I'm in college right now, so I was actually able to pick up a year membership to Adobe. So I have the whole entire suite
Oh,
for $200.
you have the whole entire Adobe suite?
Oh yes, I do.
Oh,
Damn.
get InDesign. So I just sent you like my template that I use. It would behoove you to save that.
Okay. Did you send it to Twitter?
Yes, everything's to Twitter. So essentially, and I might be able to walk you through it. So I took the because you use Indie Planet just like I do
Right.
to print. So I took their specs and then built the specs into an InDesign template, and then just all I have to do now is just add the pages.
Okay. Yeah, let me take a look here, because the thing is, it should be okay, because I already have like the original basically I already have the original pages from the original run comic that were done in black and white. But for some reason, why when I'm doing the add-ons, one of the weird thing I was having is, so I made the additional pages. I basically took the same dimensions and everything, just made a copy of the original pages. Right. And so when I started working on this other stuff, all of a sudden, I made the PDF, and all my pages were off scale. Like, there was some were larger than the other ones. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So maybe this is the thing, is it wasn't finding the correct, like you said, the correct template.
Yep, that definitely could be it.
Okay,
I know I've had that issue before, and what I found was, after I have this template, it's just easy. Just drop the pages in, save as, new thing, and just send it to them. And it's gotten my comics processed a lot faster.
Okay.
But one of the things you really got to pay attention to is after you got your whole thing set up, go into export, and it's going to be like 80 Adobe PDF presets. You want the high quality export settings.
Okay.
And let me just make this.
Yeah, make sure I got to get install. Basically, what I did was I didn't install all of them, even though I have them all available. I just didn't install them. They're just sitting in my creative suite. So
I hear you. I have a dozen Adobe things I haven't gotten around to touching that I need to install and start playing with. But just for information, InDesign is a must. Having this template is a must. And then I think the one thing that you need to keep an eye on is when you do your high quality print PDF. What is that?
Well, we've been doing what we did to Indie Planet is we didn't do we actually did the TIFF files.
Yeah, that's one way of doing it. I prefer just to build the PDF so there's no issues.
Okay.
So the thing with InDesign is, once you get it scaled down to their settings, it automatically compresses everything and builds it for you as if it was ready to print. Because it is ready to print.
So my question to you is, so if my pages are off right now, okay, so I go in and I take the existing pages I have, I throw them into the template. Will it resize them to the correct?
Yes. It's are they telling you something like, oh, you have too much bleed?
No, I'll tell you exactly what they said. What my partner said here on the email he sent to me. So give me a second here. They said that. Okay, so they're saying that the one up at the very top, I have the early Sporkman drawing. They say it's too close to the edge. At the top, and then the text at the bottom is too close to the edge.
Oh, okay, yeah, that happens to me all the time. So basically, what you need to do is get it in their, get it within their template, and that's really easy. The template that I shared on Twitter, you should be able to do that real quick, real easy. You should never have a problem ever again.
Okay, good. Then the other thing they said was to go on the bonus comic page that has the Sporkman logo. Too big, thus it was cropped. which I was saying to Joshua that I'm like, they're saying it's too big. I'm like, I didn't even touch that, that image at all. I didn't touch that, and so I don't know if it was maybe something screwed up on the original template or something like that. So, all right. So yeah, I'm waiting for InDesign to install. Oh well, thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem. I mean, I'm always out here to share information because the thing, I'm all about is trying to leave things better than how I found it. So
Mhm.
as I leave, hopefully this information just gets spread around and people can, use it to make their own stuff.
Well, especially since we have a lot of people doing their own projects, with Joshua doing his and Matt doing his. We definitely, and Cody's got other stuff coming down the pikes and Nerd Wonder. So yeah, it's definitely, so we have it available. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I should probably make like a general template and tweet that out and let everybody eat it or just download it just in case.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna do that. Give me a minute.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Hey, Jim.
Hi, Beth.
And real quick, the whole finding things better than how you found it. It's makes me think, Brian might be a former Boy Scout, because that's one of the things that I was taught in Scouts was when you come across the campsite or when you use a campsite, you always leave the campsite better than how you found it.
Actually, that's more me being a NCO in the Army. You always want to leave your unit better than you left it, with either new TTPs or just better tactics or something. So you always want to pass down to the junior guys something that they can take to the next unit, and that usually makes the unit itself stronger and better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a thing I do.
Definitely, it's good tactics.
Well, and that's the thing is, especially with now, with the we have this trade paperback coming out. This is definitely going to help. So I really appreciate it here. So, by the way, Brian, I don't know if you know Jim. We have him. He's back in our chat here from Blue Mamba.
Oh, yeah, the guy that likes the Coast Guard.
Yeah. It's good coasties.
So
no such thing.
I'll tell you what.
If I could quote Starship Troopers, the only good bug is a dead bug. I gotta tell you the story about me and my buddy Chris.
Are you willing to trade? Are you willing to trade places with any of those guys that do the ocean rescues?
Sure.
All right. Good on you then.
Yeah. I'll see why not.
I'd do it, but holy shit, man! I think I might shit myself the first couple times.
Well, that's why we wear our brown pants.
This guy got the right idea. He wore the brown pants.
I will say this. I have been in a helo when it got hit by a wave, and I ended up with brown pants on.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna tell this story. I'm gonna shut this door because it requires vulgar language. So back 2005, I was on my way to Al Asad Air Base was that Al Asad or was that Victory? God, I can't remember anymore. Anyway, we hitched a ride with a bunch of Marines and we're in the back of this Chinook. And all of us are flying out to our base and we're just kind of, wow, this is cool. I've never been in Chinook before. Oh, that's nice. So we're sitting there and all of a sudden we start taking fire. And you kind of look at the back of the tailgate and the tailgate gunner, he's like, just lighting the ground up. Then you hear this, and this RPG head hits the top of the Chinook and falls into the row and rolls right in front of me. And there's this Marine Lance Corporal just sitting right across from me. And everyone just watches this warhead just roll across the floor and just rolling on the deck. And it kind of woke him up because he was asleep. I'll never forget this.
Kinda.
So everyone's got like their bags on their lap and everyone's looking at this thing waiting for it to explode. And he takes his ruck, hands it to his buddy, unbuckles himself, grabs the RPG warhead.
Oh,
we lost you, Brian. We lost him.
he has no ability to speak.
Sorry,
No.
sorry. I was laughing too hard.
Grabs the warhead.
So he grabs the warhead, walks to the back of the bird, tosses it out the tailgate, walks back to his seat, straps himself in, grabs his rucksack back, sits it down on his lap, looks across the way at everybody, and says, "Y'all a bunch of fucking pussies," and then puts his head right back into his ruck and goes back to sleep.
And the whole time when he walks back there and he walks back to his seat, all you hear is clink, 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 clink.
Yep.
That's his steel balls.
Hey, real quick, Brian. So it's telling me this document contains 57 links that are missing. And you can relink it using the links panel. Do I just want to hit OK on that or something?
Think he's handling it.
Yeah, you can just delete the links and make them empty. Be right
Okay.
back.
All right. So I'll just okay. So, all right. So it looks like it's linking to your thing.
Yeah, it's linking to my stuff.
Okay. So I'll just delete that stuff out and
Yeah, delete that stuff out, put your stuff back in, and the thing. Let me open this so I can walk you through it, because this is probably like the most important thing that I had to learn. Again, this is all self-taught. I may actually be doing this wrong. There may be a faster way. So what you do is you take an image out from wherever, place it on the blank page, and then you resize it to the page as best you can. Then you right-click it, and you go... Actually, no, you don't right-click it. You go into Edit. Down... Where is it at?
yeah. Give me a second here. I'm just trying to see it, even how to, because I've never done InDesign before, so this is the first time. So,
Oh, that one.
yeah, so I'll figure it out. You know, once you get a tool of all the Adobe stuff, you kind of catch on after a little bit.
Yeah. So hold on. I just want to make sure I'm telling you that this is the right way to do it. All right. So once you get it resized to the blue, remember only go to the blue border. There it is. So you're gonna right click it and you're going to hit fitting.
Okay.
And then fit content to frame, or Control Alt E is the shortcut. You can go in preferences and make that something else, but that will fit all of your content within the frame. So when it gets to Indie Planet and you need to when it gets in Indie Planet, you won't have anything outside the bleed area. So it'll be really easy for them to shift things around.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing I got to fix then is my Sporkman emblem is a little too large on the one page.
Well,
so.
You should be able to drop that page into InDesign and make it fit. Yeah, okay. It'll just crop in and fit.
Yeah, what's basically happened is like the emblem, like the side, like I have the Sporkman that says Sporkman on it. Like I guess apparently when they went to staple it, some of it was actually into the area to where they stapled it.
That sucks.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to. Well, hey, I'll figure this out, but I appreciate it, and we'll if I have any questions, I'll hit you on the Twitter.
Yeah. Hit me up anytime. I'm just lurking. Lurking when I should be working.
Well, you're one day.
And this is really important, I think. So I appreciate it, and I'm gonna spread the love.
The love.
I'll make what you know. What I'll do is I'll actually delete. I'll make a blank template for everybody, so that way they don't see the other stuff. So.
Oh, I'm making that right now.
Oh, you are? Okay, cool. All right. So I'm sorry to take up the streams there. I know we're here for Jim's, so.
Oh yeah, but
thank you.
I think Jim's just being like, well, they're kind of trying to help everyone else who's also trying to get their content out.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely one of those help everyone, this way everyone can succeed.
So here's actually a good question that I would love to ask you, Jim. So are you being the one that's actually compiling the actual comic, like kind of like how Brian and I are doing? You know, are you doing the final edits on everything? I know that you have the artists and everything doing everything else. Are you the one actually doing actually making like the PDF and all that stuff?
Nope.
Okay, you got somebody else doing that?
Absolutely.
All right.
So,
well, hey, go ahead.
art came from Ale straight to Jesse as digital inks. Jesse did his part, provided the high-res TIFF file, and the letterer takes it from there.
Okay. And then who combined them all into the single project into the PDF? Was that the letterer or
what I gave you is the letterer's proof?
Oh, it is the letterer's proof. Okay.
Yeah, so that's his name down the side of each page.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm asking all these questions.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, that's his
has been outed.
What happened to Dala?
It's one of those with all the excess this evening. He was like, you know what? I'm not in the mood for funny. I'm just gonna call it a night. And
Okay.
So yeah, it was one of those. Just respect it and move on. That's why I was like,
okay,
Ryan can stick around. Figure we'll go for about another 30 minutes till about 8:30, and then we'll call it a night.
Okay. Not a problem. Not a problem.
Sure.
Hey, let me see here. I'm just kind of doing. I'll get a better read tonight on it and stuff like that when I'm, after we're done here. But I just kind of want to, dude. I'm just admiring these colors, dude. You're colorist. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. You, dude. Everybody you got really is hitting the tone that you're looking for. Now, let me ask you this: Did you find that were you having to give your colorists and your artists a lot of direction, or did you kind of give them some freedom to do stuff?
I believe in letting artists do their work. I'm nothing more than a director in this case, so. So if I see minor things that need to be fixed, then yeah, hey, fix this, or hey, that's not quite the vision I was looking for here, or hey, there's don't make it this color, make it this color. But for the most part, I let my artists, my colorists do what they do best. I mean, they're making money at this job because of who they are, because of what they can accomplish. So why not just let them have free reign?
That's a great aspect, and I think, to me, it looks like even your artists and your colorists and everybody seems to trust your decisions too. And it kind of, I think it's, from what I'm seeing here and paging through, it's almost like a perfect storm.
I hope so.
Definitely. It, like, just everything, like every panel on the page pops. Like, your backgrounds are detailed enough to give the right message, but are not, if you will, distracting. Like, I'm a firm believer that the background is meant to accentuate, not take away. Like, you want your eyes to be on the foreground. Like, I'm on page 14, the warehouse in the background with the van, and at the top.
Oh, yes.
With a Clarissa standing there in the foreground, like it balances it out. Your eyes are drawn to Clarissa in the van, which is where you want the focus to go. Like you don't want to have such a gorgeous background. Like, okay, prime example, a splash page. Yes, that's the whole point of a splash page. You want the whole page to catch someone's attention. But other than that, you want to have the background be a guide to focus on where you want the viewer's eyes to go. And this comic has a lot of points where that's what it does. It pulls the focus where it's supposed to be.
Okay.
And I can only credit my artist for that. You know, I just it's you know, these are his panels, these are his layouts, and he's the one that makes sure that the reader looks where they want them, where we want them to look. And you know, you throw that in with the colors, who, you know, to make certain parts of a panel pop over other parts, and then the letterer is just right there to make sure that your eyes, as they read the text, are flowing from each panel to each panel, so that you see everything we want you to see while you're reading the story.
All right. Real quick, your friendly neighborhood ninja says, "I'll do my best to get the word out about Blue Mamba. I'm one for standing up for independent comics." And then, and thank you, Ninja, for telling people to don't forget to hit the like button.
Yeah, and I can definitely say that Ninja definitely backs up his word. He picked up every issue we have with Sporkman. So I have a feeling
Awesome.
we get this project out, he's gonna be he's gonna be picking that up. So I'm definitely, yeah, I'm excited. I'm pumped.
Yeah, like I said, the more money that this makes, the more likely we are to get issue 2 out and issue 3 out, and so on and so forth. But the goal right now is just to hit that $8,000 mark, so that I can get this book into the hands of people.
Yeah.
And I put out earlier on my Twitter today that if we hit our funding goal, I will give out free copy to every lesbian Marine that asks for it.
Nice.
Up to 100.
Nice. Eh?
And I'm back, and the tweet is out.
Word.
That's.
Hey, you should tell Brian that, so he knows a lot of
oh yeah,
a lot of people.
I know tons of people.
So I was just saying, I put out a tweet earlier today that says if we hit our funding goal, I'll give out a free copy of this book to every lesbian Marine that asks for it.
Well, that's all my friends.
I'm limiting it to the first 100. I've got to put a cutoff somewhere because I don't want to go broke. But
wait, hold on. Do we mean lesbians or men that identify as lesbians?
Lesbians.
Oh, boo.
People that would identify, the people that are like Clarissa.
I might know some people.
Yeah. Still, that's actually putting your money where your mouth is. As the goes.
Why not? You know, I mean, if I'll pay for that out of my own pocket. Pay for the shipping to these people too, if I have to, and why not? That's 100 more people that'll see the book, and supporting the troops a little bit, supporting LGBT troops. Not that they need to be different, they need to be separated, but I'm matching it up with the lead character of my book.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess if I earn all my funding goals, I'll give the first 100 copies to all the bisexual redheads.
There you go.
Nah, I'm just kidding. We don't even need them. We just want everybody to grab it, read it, enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
I said, one great thing I was talking with Jim earlier, Brian, is, I appreciate that you and him and Wanpool you're really doing a really good justice for the LGBT community. Showing characters that are realistic, showing that they're human, and that this is good representation for them.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that I learned, well, I actually did research. I spoke to a friend that I knew who was bi, and we talked for about 100 hours of things and stuff, and so I made sure that I got that right. And as far as just portraying Regina as a angry, salty veteran, well, I'm an angry, salty veteran, so it's kind of a no-brainer. And then the last part of everything was just adding Liz's personality to it, and that was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That simple. And it's really not so much that we're portraying specifically a LBGT person. We're just portraying a person.
Yeah.
And that's how we believe that everything should be portrayed. Not like, oh, here's this white person or here's this black hero. No,
Exactly.
here's this hero that's going through some
Exactly.
stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Same with Clarissa. Same with my book.
Definitely. Like I said, I can't. I'll be honest. I'm always happy when I get free comics from, especially ones that no one else can read yet. So I'm still kind of getting over the giddiness of that. Oh, you should have seen me for the first week after I read the Ferryman. I was like, oh, I want to talk about this, but I haven't gotten Sean's permission to mention that I've read it.
Oh, I read Ferryman. Ferryman surprised me. Because at first when I got it, I thought like, oh, okay, this is gonna be your typical run of the. Ooh, that's different.
Ooh.
Yep.
Oh, that's from Altered Carbon. I like that. Ooh, oh, it's getting better. Oh, no, why did he end it this way?
Like, I did not see the ending coming at all. Like, that was something that was like, oh shit. I'm like, yeah, I was like, damn. I'm like, and I like the fact of, I liked there's a lot of stuff that, like, for me, it resonated because, dealing with the implications of the afterlife and being a believer, and I'm like, oh man, he's really hitting on a good tone here. And and when we were talking that stream with him, is that everybody finds something on how this comic relates to them. And that's what's important. I think, Jim, it seems like you're doing the same thing. Brian, you're doing the same thing. You're having these core elements that allow people to hit, their different things. I know you're talking about, Brian, in yours, like you have all these different memes and all these different things and meanings and stuff like that. And everybody's finding something different, and hopefully I can maybe see that in Blue Mamba if there's going to be different things, or are you going straight out, Jim, like this is what it is, or did you put some different meanings in there too?
Wait, I'm sorry. Say that again.
So, okay. So did you put did you use standard core elements, or did you put, like, for instance, like, am I going to read it and am I going to get a different view of Blue Mamba versus, say, what Joshua did? You understand what I'm saying?
No, I'm not that experienced.
Okay. For instance, like, okay, well, like one thing with Rags, that really pointed to me was the whole element of being naked against the world, and that theme is a big theme that seems to be running, and I picked that up right away. It was just her alone against the world, and she's butt ass naked. You know what I mean? So, do you use any elements kind of like that in the same aspect within Blue Mamba?
I didn't have that in mind, to be honest with
Okay.
you. I went for a fun to read spy story.
Okay.
And it kind of hits all the beats of your typical, spy action thriller type of a book. But I wasn't going for specific, a specific story trope.
Okay.
Other than to make fun of lesbians in comics.
Okay.
Although I don't overtly do it, but I do.
You make fun of the way they're portrayed. Man,
Right.
Midnight Cherry TV says, thanks for the entertaining stream, guys, even with the chat drama. Much love to y'all. Stay chill. Check my channel next time you guys get bored, and I'm backing Blue Mamba tomorrow on payday.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Nice.
Awesome.
Definitely. All I gotta say is when it comes to a good writer will always be able to give different people a different interpretation. Like, some people will read, I guess you could say, some people read Dune and get one thing from it. Another person will get another. That's the sign of a good writer, when there can be multiple interpretations of the same story.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's I like I said, I loved Blue Mamba. I'm just like, I might end up having like it being like one pool where I read it 2-3 times within the first 2-3 days I have it. Like, yeah.
I'm still waiting for somebody to find all the Easter eggs in Rags prologue.
I don't think, dude. I don't think I would be able to. You have so much going on.
Yeah.
Let me put
it doesn't help that like I'm if I wasn't doing the Rags Twitter, I would just go back to internet trolling, which is also my marketing plan. And and so like the book is designed to troll you into thinking one thing and then taking it in a different direction. So yeah, I could see how most people would miss the minor things.
Oh no, and speaking of, what I'm planning on doing with I'm picking up the prologue once I can finally transfer my Patreon funds to PayPal. That's so going to be a thing. Since I don't have enough to get the first issue of Rags, I'm getting the prologue at least.
It's 99 cents.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, 99 cents, third best 99 cents you could ever spend.
Yeah. Like, I was already like the original plan was to pick up the first issue of Rags, but unfortunately can't do that. So I'm going to at least get the prologue. And when I especially have, the money, I'm hitting up Carolina Comics here in town, and I'm picking up the physical copies of 1 and 2, and My Hero Macadamia, and Black Hawk.
Do it.
Do it.
If we hit like 10,000 in sales, I'll get my my buddy Sergeant Smith to do his own bikini photo shoot. Can't believe he roped himself into that.
That's so hilarious.
You'd be surprised what goes on in the armory after hours.
Oh, I can believe it.
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either, just because military town, military home, like family that's out, like my sister married a soldier. You get the idea. Most of my friends were military. I have quite a good idea of the fuckery that goes on when the higher ups are not around.
Oh yeah,
and the fuckery that happens when they are around. Well, the cool ones anyway.
Yes, you do have those with the sticks. Just like, do you need a stick erector?
What happens in the back of the LMTV stays in the back of the LMTV, sir.
That's hilarious.
Just doing some mentorship with the new LT. Make sure he understands his place.
That's hilarious. No, believe me, I still say one of the best things that I ever heard was when you are the butter bar, you very quickly learn if you want to have a career as an officer and want to see above a captain, you listen to your NCOs. When they say something's a bad idea, it's a bad idea.
Yep. That's why we keep a can of good idea fairy spray in the around the office.
I don't even want to know what that is. I really don't. That's scary.
No, you don't. Hey, Sergeant Ball, I got this. No, sir, it's a bad idea. But I smell like lemon Febreze. My wife hates that. We know.
That's why we're doing it on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That is hilarious.
You want to talk about bad ideas? Talk about midshipmen fresh out of school.
Oh God, no! ROTC cadets. I cannot stand ROTC cadets. Oh, they are the same thing. Oh, just like West Point kids.
Yes.
They make me so upset. I swear to God, we had this one cadet who had. What does she have? She had like the mental illness haircut going on. You know what I'm talking about? It's like the half shaved, fold over, whatever. Yeah. And it was and it was dyed blonde on top. And
what?
Yeah, like she had dyed it blonde on top. And if anybody knows regs, females can dye their hair, but it has to be like one complete solid color.
Yep. Yes.
And my sergeant major saw this. and I love this guy. Me and him have like the most wonderful time when we're around each other. Anyway, but he sees this cadet with this hair, and he does what any good sergeant major does. He walks over there, corrects it, and but the sad part about it was when he walked over there, he said, "Hey, young man, what the is up with your hair?" And then like she turns around. It's like,
Oh, that's awesome.
You know your hair's out of rags.
That's
Goodbye.
awesome.
Oh yeah. He's also the one that walked into our talk while we're setting up and asked like if an abortion had happened in it.
my funnest story with fresh graduates. We were in Pearl Harbor. We're at the mall, standing in line to get something to eat. There's probably maybe about 20 of us enlisted NCOs, and these 3 fresh graduates, and you know they're fresh graduates because their uniforms aren't stained.
Right.
Come in, they get in line, and shit you not, they got in line in front of us for food, and
they just cut.
And one of the NCOs was gonna say something, and he's like, I can't let this pass. And just as he turns around, this Master Chief comes walking up. You know, the guy that's been in the service for about 40 years.
Yeah.
Comes walking up, just puts his hand on the chest of my friend that was about to say something, and looks at turns to these 3 butter bars and says, "Excuse me, sirs, I need to speak to you over here, please." And they're like, what's going on? He's like, no, sirs, please, it's urgent that I speak to you over here.
Oh, that's guy's genius.
And so they get out of the line, and he walks them over, and about 15 feet away, and he turns to them and he says, in the loudest voice possible so that everybody in the food court hears it, "You stay over here until every one of them has finished getting their food, or you're not going to leave in one piece." And then goes back to his table and sits down.
Amen.
And no one does a thing. And you just see the look on these guys' faces like, "How dare you speak to me like that?" And it's like, dude, do you know who you just got dressed down by? The only reason why that guy is not an admiral is because he chose to be a working man for his living. Yeah, I love it when middies get dressed around like that. It's just
it warms my soul so much. We had this cadet, and we were doing combatives training. Thought he was the shit. Oh, he got worked on so bad by one of our females. He went in there trying to do like some taekwondo mess, and she just like body slams him. Like, done. He's out. Done. Body slammed him. Chokehold. Out. Like, took all 4 seconds.
That's hilarious. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. 10-minute warning.
10-minute warning.
10-minute warning. Yes.
It's the airborne.
Oh yes. So the last page of Blue Mamba.
Go for it.
Who was it that was saying that they liked that the fact that she gets a phone call like the last page?
I did, actually.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because it shows how it sets up for there being more missions, and that this is just one amongst many. That this isn't just some special deal. No, it's when they have a problem, they call her.
And that they don't let her just go on vacation and get away from things. You know?
Yeah.
Was that line in Mission Impossible, whichever one it was, where it says, next time take your phone, or, you know, it wouldn't be a vacation if I brought my phone with me, or it wouldn't be a vacation if you knew where I was.
Yeah.
So it just indicates that they don't, you know, they've got work for her to do, and just because she thinks that she can get away from somewhere, you know, doesn't mean that they don't know where she's at, and that they can't get in touch with her. And yeah, it leads right into the next issue. And I did that on purpose because I want people to want the next issue. I want them to realize that this isn't the end.
Yeah.
So,
well,
Nice.
and it's kind of one is good storytelling because it's like, oh, there's more adventures to be had. Yay! You know, but at the same time, it's like this is a book that's being crowdfunded, and because of that, it's your support here will help make sure that you get to see the next adventure.
right. And I wrote the first 6 issues very episodic. So it's, so it could be, I can cut it off at any time if I need to, but they're written like episodes of a sitcom or episodes of a, television drama. So, so every issue has their own story, but put all of the issues together and you get this big overarching story arc.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned how it's episodic. Then the last time I'm going to talk about the Orville this stream. And it's only going to take a minute. But like I was watching a video last night that's like, why does longtime Star Trek fans like the Orville more than they like STD? Well, one of the points made is Orville is very episodic, which is the way Star Trek has always been. It's always been more episodic. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, DS9 and Voyager had overarching themes, but they still were self-contained stories that you didn't have to have caught the previous episode to know what's going on this episode, unless it was a 2-parter.
Right.
And, that's actually a very good tool because while, yes, it's good to have overarching story, you still want people to be able to pick up a random issue and read it and not be lost as to what's going on. Unless it's like a 2 or 3-parter.
Yeah, completely.
I just kind of had to add that. Sorry. Though, all I gotta say is, though, being the fact that we are 6 minutes from 8:30, let's go ahead and start giving our closing pitches. Jim, since you are the guest of honor this evening, please start us out.
All right. Well, you guys have spent all this time listening to what Blue Mamba is, what's in the book, how people like it, whether they like it or don't. And it's over on Kickstarter right now. You can get in to get the digital version for as low as $7, but I highly encourage you to get some of the print versions. We have some great variant covers available. And if you don't want the book, but you just want to support it and make sure that it gets made, we can always take donation just, straight on the Kickstarter. You can pledge some funds there without getting any rewards. We are at 55% funded with $4,404 with 6 days left to go. Get over there, back it, support it as much as you possibly can. Tell all your friends, get all your friends to buy it too.
Definitely word of mouth is always a good way to spread or to get things supported. All right, Brian, you're up next.
Oh,
Brian?
Stop. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Well then, come check out Rags in stores 29th of August and help. You always find us on Twitter, and if you want the uncensored versions, follow us on Patreon.
Woohoo!
Yes, because you want those uncensored titties.
Boobies.
Yes. Hey. When I buy Rags, I want to see uncensored titties.
Doesn't everybody?
Wish and want.
I've said this all the time. Once you've seen one pair of boobs, you want to see them all.
Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, and to me, honestly, the way I am, censored stuff kind of takes me out of the. And I know, Brian, you did it for a reason, but censored stuff kind of takes me out of the element. So that's why I really like the uncensored version. It gets me like I feel like I'm enjoying the whole thing.
Yeah, but you're missing out on the one joke that I have that's ongoing.
That's why I buy both versions.
Yeah, the one joke that no one's figured out yet.
Uh-oh.
That's funny.
Oh, everything that happens in that book is for a reason, and it's probably a joke upon a joke upon a joke upon another joke. But some people just take it way too seriously, and that just tickles me just watching people's theories and whatnot.
The same thing. Absolutely.
You getting people like, I'm sorry, but the fact that you have theories is awesome. Just having a fan theory being, going around.
Yes.
Awesome.
One person approached me and asked, like, "Is this a real zombie plague, or is this all happening in her head?" I'm like, "No, it's a real plague, man. Real plague." It's like, "Oh, what? I thought it was just all in her head." No, it's not.
Nice.
Or maybe it is.
Well, before Sport does his closing pitch and I do mine, real quick, have everyone seen Planes, I'm guessing? Or if you haven't, you need to see the movie. It's a good movie. I like it. But I think everything that happens after the tunnel scene is none of that's actually happening. I think Dusty died in that, and he got destroyed by the train, and everything is pretty much heaven. That's my fan theory. Like, the reason why it doesn't cross over into Cars and everything, because Dusty Cropper died in that moment.
Well, the fan theory behind Cars, don't you? That apparently this is set far in the future. All the humans have died, and the cars have taken over, and that's the AI within the cars.
Yes, I've actually seen that game theory or film theory.
And there's a lot. If you actually sit back and watch the original movie, it almost makes sense. It does, even though I know Disney has probably come out and said no, but it almost makes sense. Just kind of like their theory about how most of all their other films link in some way.
Mm-hmm. Well, come on, by and large, that's the link amongst all of them. And so it only makes sense if that company exists in the Cars universe, it all takes place in the same universe. And it honestly, it just makes, it makes perfect sense. Mankind came back after Wall-E, fixed up the planet, some sort of plague happened, everything died off. You get Cars. And with the AI on the ship going all crazy, it makes sense that an AI would probably kill off humanity some kind.
Or it could be, or it could be as after before Wall-E, during that time period. Maybe that's really when Cars takes place, during the same time period that Wall-E takes place.
There you go.
In a different area.
Good possibility.
That's kind of like how I've always looked at like Day of the Dead or Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder's version. I always looked at his version as of the same film, just a different area.
Which I like the Dawn of the Dead, Land of the Dead remakes.
I'm here to laugh on the whole Dawn of the Dead theory.
Sorry, I'm looking at Jack in the chat here. He's like, we ain't got no time for Pixar theory, folks.
All right, Spork, do your closing.
Not a problem. Hey guys, I'm Chuck from Sporkman Studios. You can find me on the Twitters and the YouTubes under the same thing. We will also be doing our Indiegogo in September for Sporkman Goes to Japan. It's a 91-page kick-ass action with giant robots, giant sea creatures, and it all takes place in Japan.
Word. All right, and as always, I'm your host, Bob Dolebot. You can find me on Twitter at Brainiac420. Please, if you want to help the channel get better, donate to my Patreon. Links in the description, and you can expect Raziel the Fallen to... I'll eventually get that set up. Hopefully, I'm planning on having it be around, February is when I'm planning on doing the Kickstarter for, or Indiegogo for that. So... All right.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, gentlemen.
Oh, nice having you co-host with me, Spork, as always. Thank you, Jim. Thanks, Brian. Glad to have y'all on.
Yep. And if anybody wants the template, it's in the chat, and I spammed it on Twitter. So
thanks a lot.
Definitely. All right. Later, folks.